Greetings from Floweirda, folks. I am Joe Turino, and welcome back for another episode. Today, we're going to be continuing on the Floweirda's Most Haunted series with a look at another haunted location here in Florida. Before we start, I just wanted to mention thank you very much to any of you and all of you who have made any donations to help the victims from Hurricane Ian. I know that these folks still need a lot of help, and I have updated the list over on my website, www.floweirda.pod.com, with a few more resources where you can make donations. I was told that what people are looking for right now are air mattresses. So if you want to make a donation, you can check out the website and see where you can make some donations for those. But today we're going to get started, and we're going to be heading over to East Central Florida to the city of Rockledge, where we're going to be talking about a historic building. It's been there since the 1930s, and it is very haunted. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is Ashley's of Rockledge. Rockledge, Florida is located in central East Florida along the western shore of the Indian River, adjacent to and immediately south of Cocoa, and about 55 miles east of Orlando. The name Rockledge, which is attributed to Gardner S. Hardy, an early settler of the area, comes from the many ledges of coquina rock that line the Indian River, while other sources refer to a man named Cephius Bailey Magruder, who built his home after settling in the area in 1876 near the Indian River. Magruder called his home the Rockledge Home, and the name was eventually attributed to the whole town. It was originally referred to as Rockledge, two words, and later combined as Rockledge. The growing, packing, and shipping of citrus were the most important industries in the area in the early days. The importance of tourism also came to Rockledge before many other areas in the state. In the years before the railroad, tourists and products relied on the Indian River for transportation. Some even came by way of the St. Johns River and were transported into Rockledge. Towards the early part of the 20th century, Rockledge was known as a resort town when several large hotels were built to cater to northern tourists looking to escape the cold winters. These included the Hotel Indian River, the Plaza, and the Rockledge Hotel, all of them overlooking the river. And during the winter months, the population of Rockledge would rise from 200 people to almost 2,000 people. Up until 1911, access to Rockledge was via boat and rail. Steamboats in the Indian River connected with Henry Flagler's trains to bring people to the north. Small boats, sailboats, and small launches frequently stopped to unload freight and passengers. Most of the tourists in this time were wealthy and would use the boats to connect to the rail systems at that time. After World War I, the automobile allowed the average person to travel to the area, and their encampments dotted the area. The Dixie Highway was completed in 1915 and spanned most of Florida, and was later replaced in the 1920s by U.S. Highway 1. Over the next several years, the town continued to grow as many of the snowbirds became permanent residents. The town further expanded into the late 1950s to the west towards the St. Johns River and towards the huge Duda Ranch that has become what is now the large planned communities of Vieira and Suntree. Barton Boulevard between US 1 and Fisk Boulevard became the town center. The 1960s saw great changes in Rockledge when it became a bedroom community for thousands of aerospace workers and their families as Kennedy Space Center began to boom because of the Apollo moon landing missions and the Space Shuttle program. Barton Boulevard replaced US 1 as the town's economic center, and as new subdivisions spread along Fisk Boulevard. By the 1970s, the bulk of Rockledge's population lived between US 1 and I-95. The city of Rockledge has done a great job with the historic preservation of the city. Rockledge Drive, which stretches along the Indian River shoreline from Cocoa city limits south through Rockledge to the historic community of Bonaventure, is where you'll find some of the nicest historical homes. The H.S. Williams House, which was restored and furnished as a typical family home of 1895, can be found along this rocky Indian shoreline. The Valencia subdivision is also an example of a well-preserved historic development and is also located on Rockledge Drive. The entrance to the tree-lined neighborhood is still flanked to this day by columns reflecting the original entrance. And I will be sure to include photos of this on Instagram because it is truly gorgeous. But perhaps the most famous, or should I say infamous, historic buildings in Rockledge is Ashley's Restaurant and Bar. Ashley's, also known as Ashley's of Rockledge, has been around in one form or another since the 1930s. The Tudor-style building, decorated with dark wood and stained glass, gives Ashley's the feel of an Old English pub. Most people love Ashley's of Rockledge for its classic pub fare and good service, but some people visit Ashley's for a different reason. Ashley's is rumored to be the most haunted restaurant in Florida. But before we continue, we're going to pause here for a short break.
Ghost stories are always scarier when they're told by the very people who experienced them. Hi, I'm Becky.
And I'm Diana.
And we're the hosts of the Homespun Haints podcast.
We talk to people just like you who've come face to face with ghosts, demons, haints, and other strange paranormal phenomena. All of it makes for a chilling good time.
So grab yourself a sweet tea, turn off the lights, and listen to some eerie, true ghost stories on Homespun Haints, wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm not scared. Are you?
Welcome back to the show, folks. Now let's enjoy some spirits with the spirits of Ashley's. The land where Ashley's was built is said to be the site of an old railroad depot that was burned to the ground. According to Ashley's of Rockledge's history page, the Tudor-style building was constructed probably sometime after the 1932 repeal of Prohibition by entrepreneur Jack Allen. Now, Jack's Tavern was not the informal neighborhood eatery and sports bar that you all see today when you visit. Jack's Tavern was an upscale, classy joint. You know, men and women would come here and they would be dressed to the nines and party, you know. And it was built in a prime location just off of the main highway and near the railroad. This place had a variety of different owners along the way and has also had several different names over the years. It started off again as Jack's Tavern, and later it was known as Cooney's Tavern, the Mad Duchess, the Loose Caboose, which is my favorite, Sparrow Hawk, the Gentleman Jim's, and then later, finally, Ashley's of Rockledge. Several people over the years have enjoyed this watering hole, you know, different types of people, local working folks, you know, party animals would come and have a blast, to some rougher people. This was a time where mafiosos would come and attend this place. Again, this was an upscale location, especially during Jack Allen's time as owner. And, you know, unfortunately, with so many changes in ownership, a lot of the history has been lost to time of, you know, things that went on in this place. But there are, of course, several stories. Some of them, you know, could be fabricated, and others are very, very true. Now, as I mentioned before the break, When you look at Ashley's from the outside, it presents as a regal European stucco and wood Tudor building, which was a type of architecture that was very popular in the 1930s when this place was built. But when you step inside, it's a totally different atmosphere. Like I said, it's an informal neighborhood eatery and sports bar. Um, when you come in and you walk through the front door, you have the bar area to your left. The bathrooms are to the right, and there's tables, chairs, booths all around the bar area on the first floor, and the kitchen is on the right side of the building. Along the left inside wall of the building, there is a staircase that leads up to the second floor that has tables with an open view of the floor below. There's a second staircase that's used by staff that leads down into the kitchen. And there's also an outside deck and bar that has a bunch of big TVs so that you could come out and watch a football game on a Sunday and have a beer. And there's pictures all over the walls. Some of patrons who used to come there, some of the older owners of different antiques, the stained glass windows, and some are even said to be pictures of some of the spirits who reside in the building. And these spirits have been witnessed by staff members, even people who come to the restaurant to grab a bite to eat. And there were so many reports that they actually brought in several teams of paranormal investigators to investigate this place. And they did come up with a lot of evidence showing that this place is extremely haunted. There are pictures with showing mists appearing coming down one of the stairs, and there's a spirit of an older man who's believed to have been an old employee from the building. An investigator actually caught a photo of an apparition of an older man with a towel over his arm who was standing by the inside bar. Second investigator captured a picture of this entity standing on the employee's staircase. And it's thought that this apparition is one who moves chairs and objects and straightens the pictures on the walls, still trying to be helpful. And they actually captured an EVP of, while they were sitting having a meal at the table. And the EVP is a older man saying, "Peekaboo." I don't have the audio here in front of me, but I will try to find the link. So if you want to see if you could find that to listen to the evidence there. Now, because of Ashley's location being so close to the train tracks and the main highway, it's thought that a boy and a girl could have died from either auto accidents or falling onto the train tracks and being run over. There's a story of a man who was being dragged down the stairs of Ashley's back in the 1940s by police. And while they were putting him into the police car, his autistic daughter who was with him was watching and crying. And, she was freaked out and didn't know how to react. So she ran out the door and into the road and was hit by a car. Now, there are several reports of spirit children at Ashley's. There's a spirit of a little girl that is said to tug at people's clothes, either while they're going up or down the stairs, looking for attention. And she's also been seen on the second floor. And there's also a young boy, people say around 4 years old, that, has also made himself known in the building. But the most prominent spirit there is a young woman who was named Ethel Allen. We're not sure if she was related to the original owner, Jack Allen, but she was a patron there during the 1930s when it was Jack's Tavern. Um, it's said that she was murdered there at Ashley's of Rockledge, again, back when it was Jack's Tavern. Um, Her killer was never brought to justice. And it's thought that, if it was a gangster, that he could have had paid off the cops, to beat the murder rap, basically. Now, it was reported that Ethel did like to run around with the rougher crowd, perhaps gangster types, people who like to party really hard. Perhaps a boyfriend or ex-boyfriend of hers was a bad boy type with a temper and a jealousy issue, and maybe she pissed this guy off, and he killed her. Now, the condition of her body when it was found did show signs of this being a crime of passion, as her remains were found mutilated and burned on the shores of the Indian River. There's a lot of stories whether she was murdered at a different location and then, mutilated there. But there are other stories saying that she was murdered inside the building. Some stories say that it was in the bathroom. Others say that it was on the second floor or in the storage room or even outside the front door. It's said that Ethel is kind of playful. She likes to be, front and center, and likes, to joke around, basically. She said to tease the staff in the ladies' room. There's a story of a staff member in the stall when she noticed the shoes of a woman in the stall next to her. The shoes and the stockings resembled the 1930s style of foot attire, a boot-like shape with buttons and high heels. And when the staff member came out of the stall, that stall was suddenly empty. Another staff member was trying to come out of the bathroom, but a force was pushing the exit door closed, so she couldn't come out. And after a few minutes, finally the door gave way and she was able to get out of the bathroom. It's also said that her entity can be seen in the bathroom mirror. So ladies, if you would go to Ashley's of Rockledge and you finish doing your business and go to wash your hands, look in the mirror. Who knows? Maybe you'll have Ethel looking right back at you, right behind you. There was a picture that I mentioned earlier that was taken by an investigator of a mist coming down the stairs, and that is said to be Ethel making her way down. Now, she's not always playful. Apparently, she also likes to show people how her murder began, as she wants people to know the truth. Sometimes people have heard screaming coming from the building, and police have even been called to the building in the middle of the night, usually when staff members are wrapping up for the night. And some women have, and even men have, felt like a slight choking sensation around their necks as they moved down the hall that leads to the bathroom, as well as up on the stairs going to the second floor area. Now, besides Ethel, It's also said that there is we'll call him a foul-tempered male spirit who has anger issues. He's said to throw things around the kitchen, break glasses, and is said to be responsible for poltergeist activity inside the building. Some speculate that this spirit is actually the spirit of the person who killed Ethel. He may be stuck here where he took her life, or he's worried about being found out, because she's trying to get it out there, which is, kind of getting him upset. On the second staircase, which I mentioned earlier, that's the one that's used by staff that leads down into the kitchen. There have been waitresses that have been shoved and choked from behind, almost causing them to fall. And people get a sense of dread on that staircase and in the storage area of the building. Now, as I mentioned, there have been several paranormal investigations in this building, and there has been a lot of evidence captured, whether on video camera, photograph, electronic voice phenomenon, and just overall personal experiences. I mean, this place is very much a active location. There was a team who led investigations. They did 8 separate investigations of this place, where they said that they recorded evidence on a spirit box in the bathroom, as well as the photos of spirits themselves, including the photo of a 5-year-old girl on the second floor of the building. There's another investigator who says that he experienced Ethel following him around the restaurant, and according to him, Ethel followed him home and tried to move in with him and his wife. He says that Ethel tried to scare his wife until he told her to stop, and then Ethel left, never to return to his home. He says in doing so, he was able to discover that Ethel is a free spirit who can go wherever she wants, whenever she wants. It's not just tied to the building itself. Now, the owners of the restaurant fully embrace the fact that their building is haunted. Again, they do allow people to come and investigate the location, and they have in the past sponsored weekly events like Have Dinner with a Ghost, which I personally would love to sit down and do. So if you ever find yourself in Rockledge, Florida, go check out Ashley's Restaurant and Bar, the most haunted restaurant in the state of Florida. And that does it for episode 7. Thank you very much again for listening to this episode. And please remember to subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're enjoying the show, the best way to support us is to rate and leave a review. It really helps other people find us on the various streaming platforms. And you can also show your support by sharing the show with your family, friends, and coworkers. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Floweirda Pod, where I'm going to be posting photos to go along with each episode. And you can also join the new Facebook group where you and other listeners can discuss previous episodes and get show-related announcements and suggest future topics that you want covered. You can find the links to these pages at www.floweirda.pod.com. Thank you to Modern Mimes for creating the awesome theme music for the show. Go check them out on Apple Music, Spotify, or pretty much everywhere else you purchase or stream your music. Go follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Modern Mimes, and go check out their music videos over on their YouTube channel. If you live in or around the South Florida area and want to go on a real-life paranormal investigation, go check out War Party Paranormal on our website, www.warpartyparanormal.com. There you can find dates and ticket information for all of our upcoming events, paranormal investigations, where you'll get a chance to investigate with me and the rest of the War Party Paranormal crew at some of the most historic and haunted locations throughout South Florida. All proceeds from tickets to these events go right back to these locations to help with the historical preservations and maintenance. And if you are experiencing paranormal occurrences in your own home or business, War Party Paranormal specializes in residential cases and has helped hundreds of clients throughout Florida. All of our residential cases are completely confidential and 100% free, so please feel free to contact us, and one of our case managers will reach right back out to you. And don't forget, every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, go have a listen to the War Party Paranormal Radio Show, where your co-hosts, team leader Eric Vanderland and investigator Mike Del Coro, as well as various team members, not only discuss the locations where we've investigated, but we also share the evidence that we've captured inside them. The show also features special guest investigators and celebrities from some of your favorite paranormal television shows, so go check it out. You can find the show on the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network website and YouTube channel, as well as on the War Party Paranormal Facebook page and YouTube channel. We'll be back in 2 weeks for the next episode of Greetings from Floweirda, as we wrap up our Floweirda's Most Haunted series with possibly my favorite Florida story, especially haunted Florida story. But until then, go to Ashley's and have some spirits with the spirits. I cannot wait until I get the chance to do this for myself. But until then, stay weird, Florida. We'll see you next time.